I think it's sad, personally. I think football is the greatest team sport there is, and I think until the season's over, you should be with your team. I mean, really and truly, you could take out whether I want a guy to stay to help us win and all that. But I mean, football's the greatest game, and it's the greatest game because it's a team game, and everybody's counting on each other. And I'll bet you teammates are like, "Oh, I understand. You know, maybe face to face, but I'll bet you when they lay their head on the pillow, they're like, "Why's that guy doing that? Why, you know, we're a team."
That was Miami coach Mark Richt yesterday talking about players like Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, and Shock Linwood skipping bowl games to prepare for the draft. Let's hear what Alabama coach Nick Saban has to say about the matter.
When we all started this, however many years ago it was, I said that you're going to diminish the importance of other bowl games in college football, which has happened. That has happened. All anybody talks about is the playoffs. We have a whole bunch of other bowl games that, you know, people don't think are all that important. So if you don't think it's important, all of a sudden some players don't think it's important. So you can't really blame the players. You know, I mean, we created this.
Scott, legit or nah, that the college football playoff has been what has given these players or wanted these players to skip the bowl game?
No, nah. There has nothing to do with it. If anything, it's one more bowl that actually matters. Okay? It used to just be one game that matters. Now 3 games, 4 teams rather than 2 teams matter. 2 semis and a final for the 3 games. All of the bowl games were exhibitions, quite frankly. All they did is, like, if you win this game, we go from ranked 9th to 5th in the final polls. And there's bragging rights, and we could potentially get more of an incentive for the university. In terms of why these guys are doing it, Saban, probably a surprising answer. I mean, like, he wasn't entirely, you know, when he was asked, does he think players should get paid in the NCAA, he said, we're giving them a full ride and incredible resources, food, tutors, the resources leading up to $250,000 to $300,000 worth of stuff over the course of 4 or 5 years. But this answer, this reminds us, oh, he did coach for the Dolphins. He gets this. I mean, like Mark Richt's answer, oh, Todd Gurley? Oh, are you disappointed that he didn't stay an extra year? He didn't give it more than push the limits on the ACL tear? It's not an easy answer. And we need like an hour to talk about this in great detail because there's insurance policies if guys get injured. But there's no guarantee that the entire insurance policy, if they are injured, is paid out if they start their NFL career. There's a report that Anthony Kim in golf has not going back to golf even though he was in his 20s and in the prime of his career playing great because he's afraid that if he plays once, the $35 million reported insurance deal it'll all be nullified. So there's all of that. But at the end of the day, this is the only way that the NCAA might bend outside of an Ed O'Bannon court case with Sonny Vaccaro and say, maybe these guys that are generating millions of dollars deserve a penny.
You think this, with the guys sitting out bowl games, that might make maybe?
It's the first time ever where they're actually, the student athlete is able to show their true power of avoiding it. Now,
but the game will still go on.
Exactly.
Even without Leonard
Fournette. And if Leonard Fournette never existed, I don't know if LSU's worth that much more money because they'd have another running back and they probably would have lost 1 or 2 more games the last 2 seasons.
Okay.
But they still would have sold out every game, and I don't know how many extra jerseys he has. It's a reminder that everybody's replaceable.
Yeah.
Make the most of the system. And Fournette and McCaffrey, they're taking a risk. Like, you leave on bad terms. I'm not saying they're leaving on bad terms, but you're losing a scholarship. I mean, I have no problem with any player leaving at any point, at any time, ever. I really don't. Because if you leave, it could hurt your draft stock, lose room and board, lose the opportunity to finish a scholarship for education after. And you're taking a risk of Leonard Fournette's a father and he came from very little dollars. It's going to be so hypocritical. The NCAA cannot have it both ways here. They can't say, we want them to follow through, but what are they following through with? They're frustrated because this hurts their chances of making an additional $1 million in a bowl game.
Yeah, I certainly agree with Fournette and McCaffrey not playing in the bowl game, but to just drop out, you know, in the 4th game of the season was
Corey
certainly...
Coleman dropped out after game 9, right? Because he had a mild injury.
Yeah, and we don't necessarily know the extent of that injury,
Right.
and he didn't exactly say, I'm just not going to finish the season to go to the NFL draft. So we'll have to see how it all plays out with this topic going forward.